Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 6 4 key game picks. Before we talk about week number 6, obviously, talking about week number 5, it was a wild week 5. The theme really was missed field goals and missed extra points. Anybody who watched the majority of the NFL games last Sunday, boy, it was not a good day for kickers at all. And obviously, McPherson and Crosby in that game between the Packers and the Bengals really was the main game that had the features of basically 5 missed field goals, 3 of them by Crosby, 2 of them by McPherson of the Bengals, and really it was really just not a good day for kickers at all. And other than basically it was kickers that basically took the game. I mean, there was a couple of some key injuries there. Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley of the Giants had some injuries. And you look at other things that happened in week number 5. Kansas City getting whooped by Buffalo. So really now the Kansas City stock now has really fallen off the radar. Chargers and the Browns, in my opinion, definitely was as a candidate for game of the year. It was a back and forth affair between the Browns and the Chargers. I mean, you have a battle of 2 young quarterbacks between Baker Mayfield and Justin Herbert. I mean, that was that game got me on the edge of my seat watching that game. And personally, because anybody who knows me on a personal level, I root for the Chargers. It was a game. It was quite a football game. But obviously, week number 5 also had, unfortunately, some controversy. And I'm not talking about in football games. Obviously, John Gruden had to resign for exploratory comments he made in emails, basically that were hurtful to a lot of different communities. And obviously, the Las Vegas Raiders will have an intern coach. And obviously, there's going to be some huge question marks now for this football team going forward. And if there was ever one person that probably saying, thank goodness it got me off the news racket, was definitely Urban Meyer. Obviously, we know what the situation is with the Jaguars. Obviously, the mess that Urban Meyer has created with the Jaguars. I'm surprised Khan hasn't let him go. As at the time of this video, he still has a job. He probably still could lose his job afterwards. We don't know yet. Like I said, I'm making this video for now. I won't know what his job status will be after I make this video here. So yeah, it's really tough to say now who is definitely becoming favorites in both the AFC and NFC conferences. Obviously, you look at Green Bay, they're still there. Arizona Cardinals are making a case. They're undefeated still. You got to look at the Rams getting back on track against the Seahawks. And in the AFC, definitely Buffalo is a top contender right now. The Chargers are starting to make some noise in the conference. They could be talked about as a contender. And obviously, Baltimore Ravens, a huge comeback against the Colts. They're making a case now for really to be the team to beat in the AFC conference right now. And until then, Kansas City basically definitely has fallen off the radar, and they got a lot of work to do. Anyways, let's get into week number 6 now. All right, let's begin with key game number 1, the oldest rivalry in the NFL. I'm talking about the Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears. Rodgers, 27 of 39, 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Now the Bears had to play both Field and Dalton. Field went 12 of 20, 111 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions. Andy Dalton had 1 play, 1 of 1 for 8 yards. I'm going to say this up front right now because of time constraints and the fact that, basically this is going to be a very busy week for me on a personal level. I forgot to, on my notes, I forgot to write down the odds. So make sure you follow that flying text. It'll tell you the odds there for the time being, okay? Now, personally, though, Green Bay is a heavy favorite, and like I said, watch that flying text if you want to know the current point spread. And basically right now, when you look at the way the Chicago offense played against the Raiders, they were fortunate enough to get 20 points out of them because the Raiders' defense basically was a mess. But really, when you're playing a very good Green Bay Packers team, you're running into basically a brick wall with Aaron Rodgers and that offense here. This is an easy pick here. The only reason why I'm saying this is a key game because the Bears are in second place in that conference, and they're the only other team that's basically kept up with the Packers. But let's be real about this here. The Packers are a much better team than the Bears are. You got to go with the Green Bay Packers in this one here. Definitely, you cannot bet against Aaron Rodgers and that Green Bay offense. Even though the Bears supposedly were having a good defense, but at least they've been torched the last 2 seasons. Definitely going with the Packers here. This is an easy pick here. You got to go with the Packers over the Bears. Key game number 2, the Chargers versus the Ravens. A big game for the Chargers and obviously for the Ravens to stay in first place in the AFC North. Herbert in the big win last week against the Browns, 26 of 43, 398 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Now, Lamar Jackson for the Ravens, 37 of 43, 442 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. When you look at a battle between these two football teams, you're looking at a possible playoff matchup. But really right now, it's really tough to say now. Now the Chargers defense now are definitely going to have their hands full with Lamar Jackson. The Ravens are starting to get into a groove. They're getting on track now. This is definitely a toss-up here, but when I think about this here, the Chargers defense had trouble with the Browns. Just think of how much trouble they'll have against Lamar Jackson and his mobility and that Ravens offense. The Chargers defense is going to have to play way better than what they did against the Browns here if they want a chance to beat the Ravens here. And I have to say, I got to pick the Ravens in this one here. I think the Chargers defense is going to have trouble here. They're definitely going to need to play much better than what they did against the Browns. And I got to go with the Ravens here. I think the Ravens, I think this will be a close game. Don't get me wrong. It will not be a blowout. This will be a close game, but I think the Ravens are going to be too much to handle for the Chargers here. I got to go with the Ravens here. It pains me to say that, but I got to go. But this is the case, where I'm betting against the Chargers for this game here. Yeah, Baltimore's offense is getting this game. This could go back and forth just like it did with the Browns, but I just think the Ravens, the way they're playing right now, I think the Chargers defense is gonna have a lot of trouble if Lamar Jackson gets out of the pocket and runs with the ball. Definitely going with the Ravens here. Ravens over the Chargers. Key game number 3. The Arizona Cardinals versus the Cleveland Browns. Another test for the Cleveland Browns here against an undefeated Arizona Cardinal team. The Cardinals, even though they won last week, they actually did struggle against the 49ers a little bit here. Kyle Murray went 22 of 31, 239 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions. Baker Mayfield, 23 of 32, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions here. Cleveland's defense, as they had trouble with the Chargers offense, their defense is going to have to come up very big against Kyle Murray here. So this is definitely a toss-up here in this game here. And when you look at Arizona's defense here, their defense has improved quite a bit, and they've been doing a fantastic job of holding teams at bay, especially with the acquisition of J.J. Watt during the offseason. Cleveland really has to get their offense intact there. They got to find a way to really put up points against the Arizona Cardinals, because this could probably be the Browns could be in another high-scoring affair here, as they did with the Chargers last week. But when it comes down to it right now, the way that the Arizona Cardinals are playing right now, they look pretty unstoppable right for the moment now, and especially leading in that tight NFC West. I'm picking the Cardinals here. It's definitely going to be a Cardinals victory here. It'll be a close game. I could see this game going back and forth here. I could say that defense is going to be not much of a factor in this game. I think this will be more an offensive game here. This will definitely go back and forth, but I'm picking the Arizona Cardinals here. I just think that the Cardinals will beat the Browns here. It's going to be it's going to be a pretty close game, but I just think the Cardinals will beat the Browns here in this one here. So yeah, I'm going to pick the Cardinals in this one here. Cardinals over the Browns. And finally, key game number 4, the Buffalo Bills versus the Tennessee Titans. Josh Allen last week, 15 of 26, 315 yards, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions, and a big win against the Chiefs last week. Ryan Tannehill for the Titans, 14 of 22, 197 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions. Now, this is going to be a key test for that Tennessee offense here. Let's see. The way the Bills defense played last week, they did a great job of holding the Chiefs at bay. They really got after Patrick Mahomes, and I just think now for the Titans offense here, they really got to protect Ryan Tannehill. The way the Buffalo Bills defense is playing right now, they are coming on strong here. So definitely here it's going to be, I think it's going to be more of an offensive struggle in this game I think for both teams. Obviously the Bills defense has to worry a lot about Henry and the run game. The Bills possibly is kind of a small Achilles heel to their defense here, but it is definitely going to be a much tighter game for the Bills and the Titans than it did last week when they played the Chiefs. A lot of it's going to come down to offense here. Which offense can get past can really get through the defense there for both these two teams here. It's a big toss-up here. It's tough to say who wins this game here, but I'm actually going to go with the Buffalo Bills in this game. I just think to me their offense, they're really on tack. They dismantled the Chiefs there, and who's to say they'll dismantle that Tennessee defense here? This game might be close. It could go back and forth here, especially if Tennessee can get Henry and that running game going to help free up the pass for Ryan Tannehill. But I think the Bills are a bit better than the Titans in this game here. I like the way that Josh Allen's playing. He's on a mission of his own to get back to the conference title game, and the way the Bills have come together. This is a scary Bills team here, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Bills beat the Titans in this one here, and that is my pick in this one here. You got to go with the Buffalo Bills here. It'll definitely be a close game, but I like the Bills in this one here. Their offense is really intact here. So, yep, I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills over the Tennessee Titans. All right, everybody, that wraps up my picks for week number 6. For all my week 6 picks, please check the description below, and I'll talk to you guys next week when I make my picks for week number 7. And until then, take care and enjoy your football weekend.